Welcome back. You're still watching Citizen TV. Time for us to wrap up the news review this morning on Power Breakfast. I'm still here with Mark Bichachi, Brian Weke, Eric Wanjohi and Rafael Obonyo. And the, one more headline we would like to look at is on page 10 of the Standard. Independents under fire for causing up to Uhuru and Raila. There are a number of cases presented to the IEBC where candidates affiliated to both Jubilee and NASA, talking about ODM candidates who have the ODM party certificate, those who have the Jubilee party certificate, are not happy with these independent candidates who are using their party colors and the portraits of the presidential candidates to campaign. Now this is a big story. 18 days to the elections, I think it's also coming a bit too late. They've already campaigned, but what these candidates are seeking is for them to be barred from the elections. At the center of the rivalry is the use of Uhuru and Raila's portraits in campaign material, as well as alleged use of the two main outfits' colors and symbols. One of the candidates there, and this one is from Lamu, Jubilee candidate for Lamu County Woman Rep, Rueda Olo Mohammed, has asked Chebukati to disqualify the independent candidate Monica Mudomi for using Jubilee symbols and, in quotes, making Uhuru not to endorse her when he campaigned in Lamu on Monday. But we've seen this happen. In Kirinyaga, for example, in the gubernatorial race, President Uhuru Kenyatta there went, and he, because of pressure, he did not endorse even the Jubilee Party candidate. He had to talk about Martha Karua, who's a NAK Kenya, not independent. NAK Kenya, it's an affiliate party. Maybe that's a bit different. And the Jubilee Party candidate, Anne Waiguru. Yet, all these people with the party certificates believed that once I do have the party certificate, then the endorsement is mine. Has this party certificate been diluted irreversibly?
Yeah, I think it's also because of the nature of these elections. The issue of turnout is extremely key, and one of the things that one of the things that is being said is that independence will help in terms of ensuring a bigger turnout. And so the presidential candidates and political parties want this independence, but some of the aspirants, especially in the political parties, feel like the more we allow this independence also to align themselves to political parties.
But do you agree it is a bit unfair? I've really struggled and spent so much money to get this party certificate, then I do not get the benefit that should come with it.
Yeah, and I think for the party leaders just need to be bold and support their party candidates, and say, look, I'm a party leader of this particular political party, and I'm supporting my candidate. But that might not happen because these party leaders also want high turnouts in their strongholds, and if you rattle the independents, you might not get the turnout that.
The one thing that you should understand is that His Excellency the President has experience of being President of the Republic of Kenya, and he knows for sure Section 131, is it subsection 1E, that says that the head of state is a symbol of national unity, and he's exemplified that, in that he knows that there are some people, albeit the fact that they are in opposition or they are independent candidates, that I wouldn't mind working with them because they have a lot that they can be able to bring on board. Look at what he did with the former Minister of Interior, may God rest his soul in eternal peace, Major General Nkaiseri. Even though he was in the opposition, he reached out to him and called him up for national duty.
And converted him.
No, Nkaiseri has never joined Jubilee, at least not in public record.
But he campaigned
for Jubilee. He came in, he was not campaigning for Jubilee. He was giving out the status of government. And note, and this is where the mistake is coming in, and this is, my brother mentioned civic education at some point, and it's very important to bring about civic education in this country, especially to the leaders of the country. I hear people talking about Jubilee government, NASA government, and this government. There is no such thing in the Constitution. The Constitution defines government as A, legislature, B, executive, and C, judiciary. And all these civil servants are not supposed to be partisan. The head of state is supposed to be the symbol of national unity, which means when you become head of state, you reach out to those who elected you and to those who did not elect you. But you are the president. Now I'll tell you what.
For the election.
I'll tell you what. Jubilee Party or any other political party does not form government. The head of state forms government. And he does not form government because he is in this party or that party. He forms government because he was elected to be president. But once he's elected to be president, he becomes the president of the nation, but not of Jubilee.
Is he campaigning as president, or is he campaigning as a Jubilee party candidate?
Now that is where I'm coming to. Yes. When it comes to presidency, he has decided to go by the party ticket. Other people called independent candidates have decided, either because they were rejected in their nominations or either because they stand for something, let us come up as independent candidates, right? There is nothing that prohibits an independent candidate from giving his people, his constituency, direction as to how to vote for the presidential. An independent candidate can come and say, when it comes to governorship, elect me as governor. When it comes to president, elect so-and-so or so-and-so.
Include the poster on his...
He can. It's his democratic right to support whoever he wants to support for presidency. However, putting up a party symbol, you're an independent candidate putting up a symbol of NASA or putting up a symbol of Jubilee is wrong.
Do you agree, Brian?
That's
because some people may argue that Uhuru Kenyatta, in as far as Jubilee Party is concerned, he also qualifies as a symbol.
You know, I listened to the gentleman, and I wonder whether he's just checked in from Rwanda or the US or which country. Now, and I want to school you. You cannot disassociate a political party which has won to be a ruling coalition, a ruling political party, from the individual. Now, I want to agree with you when you talk about a symbol of unity and all these things, but the fact remains, the party that has been able to form government is Jubilee Coalition. There are no two ways about it. And let's be very clear on that. And in Kenya, when we talk about government, we don't talk about the three arms of government. We talk about the executive, because that is the one that is charged with the responsibility of implementing certain programs. So we can go into those other semantics that government is about legislature, judiciary. Absolutely. Now, on issues of independent, IBC has actually pronounced itself on this matter. An independent is actually independent as such. So you cannot say that you are aligning yourself to Uhuru Kenyatta or Raila Odinga. You are independent, meaning you do not belong to the school of thought that either Jubilee or...
Do you agree it is unfair that President Uhuru Kenyatta can go to Lamu and fail to endorse?
It is not only unfair, it is actually illegal. Because as president, if you look at the Political Parties Act, if you're a member of a political party, you cannot, and you will not, and you shall not be able to support the candidature of another political party. Now, let me tell you, in every area that the president went, he actually clearly said, vote for Jubilee candidates. He went to Nakuru and compelled the independent candidate to step down in favor of the current Jubilee candidate. He went to Uasin Gishu and compelled Buzeki, and even sat down with the Kikuyu elders and told them, look here, our guy is Mandago. They said, no, we love you, President, but we love Buzeki better, respect us. When he went to Kirinyaga, all over, he went to Murang'a, endorsed the candidate. He went to Kiambu, endorsed the candidate. He went to Nyeri, he endorsed the candidate, but people said, no, we want to vote for you and choose whoever we want. But when he went to Kirinyaga, he literally killed Waiguru. Because when the president says, they are all ours.
When you say killed, you know...
Politically.
Yes.
Politically. Yeah. Because everywhere he went, he actually endorsed his candidates. So it is very unfair for the electorate to actually compel either Uhuru Kenyatta or Raila Odinga to support these independent candidates, because they belong to their political party. Once you have the ticket, then automatically the president... And by the way, people don't understand. IBC has actually pronounced itself on this matter. There is a candidate that was using party colors as well as the poster of Raila Odinga. He was actually fined, I think, 250,000, and was told to stop forthwith. So I would urge these people to actually go to IBC's committee and put up their case.
Yes, but going forward, Mark, because now what we are seeing with this election It doesn't matter if you have the ODM ticket. It doesn't matter if you have the Jubilee ticket. As long as you know I support the same, from this region, we support this presidential candidate. As long as I could be an independent candidate or anyone else, and it's cheaper probably to be an independent. And then just put the poster of the most popular presidential candidate who's not from your party, and then what does it mean? Don't you dilute the power of these parties and their certificates?
You know, one of the key things that we need to ask ourselves is the question of, do our political parties actually stand for something? And that's the ideology difference that my friend is talking about. And the reality is, if you want to tell these parties apart, it is very difficult. So on that basis, independents in this nation are not really independent. They are results of either a botched polling nomination system, or I can't afford the legal fees that the parties will require, 200,000 or whatever, so I'm going to run as an independent. That is one reality that we need to check in. The second reality that happened is we need to understand that, for example, Buzeki versus Mandago. Let me tell you, I am very happy that Buzeki stayed as an independent candidate, because Mandago is coming out to seem very tribal. In fact, he is sub-tribal, if there is such a term, because he is specific to which sub-tribe within the Kalenjin community he wants to support him. So yes, there is the legal aspect of it, where the independent is supposed to have independent thought, but in this country, if you ask an ODM member, what do you believe in, they will tell you Raila. You ask a Jubilee person, they tell you Uhuru. You understand? And Uhuru and Raila are not ideologies. So we do not have a true independent. But the third reality that the government of the day will have to face is, if you just have 10% of independence in parliament or 10% in the MCA levels, then you need to understand that even in campaign period, you need to factor in what happens in Uasin Gishu if Buzeki wins, and I hope he wins because I kind of like that guy. Okay, so
he just campaigned for him.
I think he will. So no, that's not a campaign. It's just a personal opinion. It's I'm not on his team or anything. But the fact of the matter is this: if he should win as an independent governor, what does that mean for the government of the day or for the coalition of the day when it comes to dealing with these people? And I think that is one of the considerations that when people are campaigning down in the ground have to think about, because what if this independent person wins and I still need to work on them? Fourth and last is, we need to consider where is the psyche of the Kenyan. Now the reality is this, and I'm excited about this, is that Kenyans are able to make decisions for themselves without the undue influence of high office in the country. That people are able to say, in my county, in my constituency, I want the right leader for me, despite his lack of having a political party or his lack of being aligned to the alliance that is preferred. I think that is maturity in politics. The legalese we can argue out. I don't think the legal aspect really build this case, but the reality is Kenya is maturing, and it's a good thing for us.
Final comments, Rafael?
No, I think we have a few days to elections. I think all of us need to get involved. I mean, it's not just a matter of IBC. I know, of course, we're pointing fingers at IBC, but I think all of us need to play our part, whether it is citizens. I think we need to be active, whether it is political parties. I think we really need to be mature in the way we conduct our politics, whether the various institutions. I think the success of these elections will mean success for all of us. Failure in these elections will mean that as a country we'll have failed, and it's really, really costly. So we need to make sure that these elections really work for all of us.
Okay,
Fred, we need to understand something. In civilized societies, for instance, when you go to a country such as the US, you don't hear them talking about Republican government, Democrat government. They talk about the Bush administration, Trump administration, Obama administration. You get it? And this is the direction we need to take as Africa. It's only in Africa where I hear people talking about a particular party,
about the parliamentary level.
We need to start understanding that government is for the people, by the people, and for the people. We can put it that way. Yeah? So the government is supposed to be a unitary government to unite the entire country, not a particular party. But all that said, I need to respond to this issue about the independent candidates. Understand something. Independent candidate is not a political party. It does not mean because somebody is an independent candidate that that person will only front a presidential candidate that is independent. if the person who is going for a senatorial position does not necessarily equate that that person who is going for a senatorial position must endorse an independent candidate that's going for presidency. He may have a difference of opinion when it comes to senatorial position, and he may have direction to give when it comes to presidency. There is nothing that forbids independent candidates from associating themselves or even supporting a particular presidential candidate in our laws.
You can support, yes, but using them on your poster.
When you support as an independent candidate, what are you doing? You're giving people direction. That for me, the direction I'd want to give you is this.
Well, that's the argument as fronted by some of these people who've been taken before the IEBC. The IEBC is expected to give a ruling on some of these cases. We expect those rulings to come out very soon. Of course, we'll be here to look at those headlines as well. I'll give you each 30 seconds just for your final comments, not really back to the debate for the headlines. Mark Bichachi.
My joy in this particular election is the maturity of the Kenyan people. I congratulate every Kenyan who's thinking independently, who's thinking outside of the six-piece system, who's able to make a choice without the undue pressure of what your society is expected to behave like. It's maturity for Kenyans, and I think it is a good sign for 2022 and even 2017 as a people. I'm very proud of my nation as we speak.
Okay, finally, Brian.
I think for me, the Bush administration, I just want to urge Kenyans that at the end of the day, we'll have a Kenyan who's going to be president. We will not get anybody from Rwanda or any other country. So it is important for us to start embracing all these presidential candidates. If Uhuru Kenyatta was to go to the so-called strongholds for NASA, accord him the necessary respect and listen to him. If Raila Odinga goes to the so-called Jubilee areas, embrace it, because at the end of the day, I can tell you for a fact, it is one of them who will be president, and they're all Kenyans, and Kenya will be there post the election.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian Weke, Mark Bichachi, Eric Wanjohi, and Raphael Lobonyo being our panelists this morning. Power Breakfast still continues. We still have L and Band, and also Chef Ali is still within the building. I'll be continuing to cook up some nice breakfast. We'll also be having a discussion on hygiene, especially this time that we have all this cholera outbreaks. My name is Fred Indimuli. Remember, the hashtag to use is still Power Breakfast. Good morning.